So I'm glad to have you here today instead of the other time that was not possible due to timelines. And actually, I'm really happy to be able to catch up a bit on flow after having experienced it. It was January 2020, right? Just before everything started. So I'm really glad to see where you are from then and how this has been growing. But before I take you there, I will take you more into a very apparently easy, but sometimes a little bit tricky question of who is Tristan right now? Like, who is this person that is in front of me? And
Yeah.
I know, but you can share whatever you prefer.
Okay, so I'm just going for the moment and just being spontaneous. I'm not going to tell you my typical bio or anything like that. I'm just going to say I'm a very creative soul, individual, a mom. I love organic food. I'm a good cook. And I've been passionate about meditation since I was very young. My dad took me to my first meditation when I was 4 years old. I became quite fascinated and have been on a big journey with meditation throughout my life, which took me to Iceland. And then in the year 2000, in January, into a deep, deep dive in the heart of Iceland, which transformed my life. And ever since then, been on fire to help people meditate and to bring meditation to the world. So yeah, I'm a very passionate lady.
I can confirm that, having met you in person. Taking some years ago, like going back to that 4-year-old Tristan, what inspired like this sparkle of the first time sitting and meditating? How was it for you back then? Like, it's a completely different approach when we are very young and it's being given us from our parents. But do you recall, or do you remember, does your father is telling you what was this impression that you had back then?
My father was kind of an epic sort of, in my mind, of course, as a child, he was like a god, he was sort of a legendary epic figure in my life, throughout my life. Back in those days, he drove a VW van. He had Converse sneakers, orange in color. He had, corduroy pants and long hair and a beard. And he took me to a meditation in San Francisco Golden Gate Park, and we were barefoot on the grass. I remember that. And it was very interesting too, because there was a TV crew there. There were a lot of people in the park meditating. It was a Monday night. Every Monday night, there were these big meditations in Golden Gate Park. And we were there. There was a TV crew there. And then when I went to visit my grandparents that summer in Texas, they said, "Tris, we saw you on TV. You were in your dad's arms. He was holding you." And the TV crew just like zoomed in, me and my dad. And it was one of my dreams. Like one day I'll be able to see that little video clip, if it's found, unearthed somewhere from one of those. Anyway, it was back in 1971, so it's a long time ago.
And how was the journey since then? Did you continue, like, was it a linear journey, let's say, or was it like the beginning was very connected and then there was something else? How was the rest of the journey? Because back then also was the time that meditation was again in the forefront, as I feel it's coming back now, but there was a big shift in between those years. So how was it for you personally?
For me, when I was growing up, I think my connection to meditation was a lot about music, like just listening to music, like the Beatles and just all kinds of music. And I would feel that, get into a flow or get into a zone, dancing or just connecting to music. And then, and that's interesting because during those years was when the new forms of meditation were starting to come in, with just more modern forms of meditation, with movement and dance and breath work and all kinds of stuff was starting to emerge during that time. My dad gave me the book Siddhartha to read when I was 9, which I read that summer in London. And then I became very fascinated with Eastern religions in my teenage years when I was living in Singapore, Southeast Asia, for 2 years. But then the journey, and I always had this side of me that was connected to somehow to spirituality and meditation. And anyway, it's kind of funny because I used to do like guided visualization meditations with my friends, just like I would make them up, when I was a teenager. But then it was in January 2000, when I was a mom and a grown woman, when I was juggling life and just, having a great life, but juggling so much and having a certain level of stress and yearning for like to have the most fulfilling life that I could have, that I went to a 9-day retreat in Skalholt. And in those 9 days, and I was using, and again, a lot of different kinds of meditation, not just Vipassana or sitting, not just mindfulness, but dynamic forms of meditation with movement and some just progressive methods. And I had a very big experience that just opened up a whole world of wonder and universe of just indescribable, a feeling of like everything had come together inside of me. Like my childhood memories came back that I had forgotten. And I had this, a feeling of power and energy and bliss that I was like, this is the feeling that everybody wants. This is, everybody wants this feeling. And aliveness and passion for life and creativity and dreams. And I had so much happened for me in those 9 days. I came home quite transformed, and I started meditating every morning, and it basically just, it was like being shot out of a cannon. and I haven't really stopped ever since, but just going to a lot of transformational seminars and then learning more and more different practices. I never thought that I would be a meditation teacher, but then I got trained in the year 2010. And then I started to offer Icelandic people meditation in 2012 when we moved back to Iceland. And that's when the doors flew open and like everybody was very interested, and it became a real thing in my life to be, in meditation, and providing meditation for groups and having retreats and weekly meditations. And then in the year 2014, I went through a bit of a crash when my father passed away, and everything changed. I'd never quite gone through such an emotional crash. And then it was a pretty tough time. And then when I was building my life back up together, I decided to really focus on meditation as my like single-minded focus in my career and my life. Let go of the other things that I've been doing. I've been doing so many different things in my life. And then the idea of working with technology became very strong. I went to a technology conference and had a vision for working in technology, doing a new kind of a revolutionary type of a meditation platform with newer tools, with more progressive tools, like involving music and a wider variety of ways to meditate. And then that's when the whole flow journey started. We applied for the Startup Reykjavik Accelerator. We got into a program with Vodafone. We started to work with companies, bringing meditation to companies, and then things really got super interesting. That was in 2016.
How do you see the difference, like back then, of the companies slowly maybe approaching the idea of applying meditation for their employees? And how do you see it like now? I feel that things are changing. At the same time, it's very interesting to see how the different regions and the different company sectors are approaching such subjects. Sometimes in the beginning can be a little bit more authentic, and then it starts being a little bit more different. But I would love to hear your opinion about that. How do you see all of this journey of having meditation applied into a more corporate environment happening?
It's been so interesting for me to, like, from the get-go, have interest from big companies like gaming companies, banks, energy companies, that everybody has realized that meditation is very needed to alleviate stress and to help boost focus and well-being, mental well-being for the workplace. and that companies are really willing to invest in that, in mental well-being for their employees. I think it's become a super hot topic. Many companies are already taking steps for mental well-being in different ways, having a wellness room, for example. So that's become a huge trend. And now, to have tools like virtual reality and apps and portal, and the things that we developed with Flow, very attractive to companies. So we've been able to work with a surprisingly wide variety of companies, and it's been amazing to me that like banks have been some of our longest standing customers, or let's say telecom companies, who you would think are quite traditional in some ways, but they're actually super receptive and love the virtual reality meditation. So that's been really wonderfully refreshing, and to work with people like HR managers who are like steeped in the corporate world, but they just take such a delight in being able to provide meditation through these cutting edge technology tools. Because I think that's the key, is that now that meditation's become such a digitized and more like just well known in the internet and the online world, the fact that you can meditate, there are just so many avenues to access meditation online. It's become so famous and so appreciated and well known through all the different influencers and companies who've done such fantastic work. It's become it's become a huge movement. In fact, it feels like there are basically millions of people accessing meditation through technology now. And so I feel like that's just an indication, like people are ready, people are willing, people are searching, people need it, they want it, and they love it, and they appreciate it. And that's just a great thing, with all the challenges we face. We need tools like this. And that's why I developed Flow, because even being a dedicated meditator for couple of decades now, very dedicated, I still was like, I want really great tools at my fingertips that I can just like boom, access fantastic meditation on demand. Boom.
How do you see, because I know that for many people, like, it's counterintuitive to have technology and meditation together. It was, at least in the beginning, but it has been changing a lot. For you personally, for all the types of meditations that you could have been working with, why VR, and how do you what is the experience when you're doing meditation through the goggles, through VR, and why do you feel it's different from other types of meditations?
Thanks for asking this. When I started the company, my co-founders were so keen about VR, and I was really skeptical. I'm like, okay, this is just like a toy. It's like a game. It's like, it's going to distract. It's not going to help people go deep. It's going to take people a little bit outside of themselves. It's going to be a temporary relief, but not really the profound experience. But what happened was so amazing. During the accelerator program, the first one we did back in 2016, I was offered to do a voiceover for a company that created the Everest Experience, which is like a phenomenally beautifully crafted, really so realistic. Basically, you're climbing Mount Everest in VR, and it was all filmed, in film, real, and stitched together and made this. It's in the Smithsonian. It's just so stunning. And I did the experience, and I got to the top of Everest, and I sat, and all I wanted to do was sit down on the top of Everest, and I just wanted to meditate. And I was really blown away. I was astounded by how I felt being at the top of the world on Everest, but in a VR experience that felt very real, very profound. So when I had that experience, it just made me. It came back to the team, and I said, okay, we're going to do this. We're going to do meditation and virtual reality, and we're going to help millions of people learn meditation, because I knew all of a sudden, I had that aha moment. It was in my heart, like, this will help people to access the profound benefits of meditation. Because when you're transported to a place like top of Everest, or wherever it might be, that's a very conducive place to feel at peace or in awe in wonder of God's creation, nature, Mother Nature. When you're in that, your mind actually opens and it becomes calm in a natural way. So it turns out scientifically that nature imagery that you see on screens, or especially in 360-degree immersive, that has the same profound effect scientifically on your brain, on your mind, as being in nature. And isn't that incredible? You don't have the smell, you don't have the sound. But when we create the flow meditations, we take people into Icelandic nature, and you have the 360-degree ambisonic sound, and you have music and guided meditation. So yeah, it took me a while to win me over to the idea of VR. And once we created it, I was still, even though I knew it was working and I could see it from the reactions of more and more and more people, it's still like, it took time for me to really be 100% like, you know what, this really works. And it needs to be designed in a way that empowers people to actually meditate, in my opinion. Like, if you're gonna, so what flow is like a way you can learn, train, practice, and even master meditation tools. You need to create it in that way. It's important that when you're meditating in VR, that you don't tell people what to feel or how to think or anything like that. You have to create a very, when I say, I mean, like, it has to be very carefully designed so that you're actually just guiding people to meditate, and that they are the ones taking the action steps in meditation, and they have that feeling that they can succeed, that they're empowered to breathe, to focus, to, let's say, maybe gently stretch or move their body in meditation so that they can release some tension, and they can maybe actively release some stress in their mind or body, so that they can open up and then calm down and go to a deep, calm place. And from there, look for solutions, and, all the tools in meditation that are there that are so valuable to us, that you can offer those to people in that way that's immersive. And so people feel that they succeed from when they're in. People who have a really hard time to meditate, that's the thing. People have such a hard time just to get a feeling of like, wow, I got it the first, a profound aha moment from the first time when you meditate. That's really hard to get. But when you have the VR, it provides like a boost, a power that you don't have normally. So that's what I've realized after we created the first version of Flow, and I heard people say things like, I want this for my 26,000 employees, or somebody who's skeptical about meditation said, people have been telling me I need meditation. I'm like, I don't want to. I think it's, I think it's boring, or I think it's impossible. My mind is too active. And then they try a Flow, and they're like, oh, whoa, this can change the world. And they've got tears streaming down their face or something, like that. That's the kind of a feedback we got, like, from the get-go. So, over time, it's like, okay, it really is a great tool for enabling people to meditate. And it is also, VR is called the empathy machine, or it is an amazing training tool for people to learn to, for example, be empathetic towards other people's feelings, or to be training how to perform surgery, or there's many things you can learn in VR. Why not learn how to meditate?
I totally agree on that. I have many questions that can take us to very different paths, but I will go for the one that comes like more present. I know that you are based in Iceland, but is that the only reason you chose Icelandic nature? What was the main reason that you started, at least? I don't know if you have ideas of expanding in other places, but what was the first reason to right now have Flow with Icelandic sceneries?
The power of Icelandic nature is something that you cannot describe. I mean, there's a feeling, there's an energy here. People come to Iceland and they go into this vast, untouched nature. There's so much variety, and they have I feel like there's nobody that leaves Iceland untouched, from seeing this very, and experiencing, feeling the power that's there, the waterfalls, the vast spaces, and everywhere you look, there's no sign of man. It's just like you're on another planet. You've seen it probably on TV and different movies. They use Iceland all the time as if you're on another planet. They use it for a lot of like science fiction shows, but it has this like, yeah, it's like you're in another world. And I felt that when I first came to Iceland in 95, like I was traveling and I felt like I'd landed on another planet. And that was my first impression. And then so that feeling is like, okay, you're not in your usual everyday place. So I felt like, okay, Iceland is a good place to take people to feel they're in a place that's new. And it is a new country. I mean, it's like it was formed just some millions of years ago by like the rubbing of the tectonic plates between Europe and America, and it was born out of volcanic eruptions just a few millions of years ago. So it's actually like a young nation compared to all the different continents and places in the world. It's a bit relatively like young and new. So even though it has like a feeling of the ancient, historical sagas, the Vikings and whatnot, it still has this like a freshness and aliveness of the fire and the ice, and it's very dramatic. It's very, yeah, there's like it feels like there's endless scenarios and scenes we can tap into here. We don't necessarily have to go anywhere else, but we probably will.
Yeah, it's one country I haven't really visited yet, but it's definitely one that feels very, very, very interesting because of this mix of the elements, like, and the elements being so present all the time around. I can definitely imagine that fire and water is like the two that are really like being together in Iceland a lot, as of rain and water all around. But like for you personally, how would you, which one of the four elements would you feel more connected when you are in Iceland? Like which one is like really representing? Is it the fire that was born from? Is it the water that is surrounded? Is it like wind? I know that's very windy also. I know that's like a vast land with no people. So partly you do have a touch with the earth a lot.
It's the most windy inhabited country in the world. So like there's another more windy place, which is Antarctica. But of course that's uninhabited, and Iceland is inhabited, and we're second windiest place in the world. So it's very windy. I think in Iceland, you feel connected to the elements, all of them. You've got the volcano now, it's just like right there, the fire. You have, of course, a lot of water around you, surrounded by the Gulf Stream, and a lot of rain, and the water you drink is very nice. And you've got the geothermal water heating all the homes, and the water you drink out of the tap is like pure spring water. It's very delicious. And then you have the soil, the earth, which was just back until a few decades ago was completely organic, and nothing, like the farmers were very like just using traditional methods, and so it feels very pure, the land somehow, and very, yeah. And the plants that grow here out of the soil, they grow slowly, so they're very potent, like the herbs, and the food is very delicious. So all of the elements are very strong. But for me personally, I happen to be a bit of a fire starter. So I think the energy here in terms of like fire and get it going and make things happen and have a big mission and get people on board and all that stuff, that's probably the one that dominates my life with flow. This is the fire, the passion, the burning passion to make it all happen.
So take me on that mission. If we go fast forward, you can put how many years you want. I will just put 5 just to have a number. Where do you see flow being? How is it? Where is it? How is it being experienced? And what is achieving to do in the world?
Thank you for picking the number 5, because it was my lucky number when I was a kid. And we've been in flow now for 5 years since we started the company. And so in 5 years from now, I want to say we have a really strong platform, and we are using cutting edge tools. No, not just VR, but we've gone into AR as well. And we have, so we're known for being really high-end, top shelf meditation content in immersive content for VR, AR, XR, and that we have a strong, let's say, like partnership base with the companies that we work with, and also corporate, like strong subscription base through the corporates, but also that has allowed us to really distribute meditation to a large number of people around the world, and that we're in different languages and different, like, it's very global. So, you know, that we're really like, yeah, well established and solid foundation for meditation.
Are you more like you're more focusing in the business application of VR, right? As far as I understand, but I guess without excluding the individuals. The question is, for me, it's always with VR, it's like, how could we have a preview of what you're creating without having to have a goggle? Like, and it has always been like my question with all the VR applications. I would love to be able to have a little, I know that you cannot have the same experience, it's impossible, and that's why, of course, the equipment is there. But I feel that there is an in-between step between people like experiencing the whole experience and having a little bit of a preview. How is that possible to happen? And I know that back then there were some ideas about having like some hubs with VR equipment that you can just like tap in, and I haven't really followed up of how is it now, the VR expansion and world. So that's why I'm asking you, how do you see it like happening, either inside companies or inside houses?
Yeah, I think that it's going to become like really common practice for companies to have, like in their wellness room, to have the VR headsets so that people can access meditation. I think that's going to become a very popular thing. The thing about with Flow is that we have also, well, if we're just talking about a preview of the Flow experience, we have on our mobile app, which you can download by going to our website, flow.is, or it's also Flow Meditation in Google Store, Play Store. But if you go to flow.is on the internet in your phone and you just click on the mobile app and you download the mobile app, you have all the same immersive content in 360 in the phone. So you can look around and see in 360 the nature imagery from Iceland and all the different meditations. So there are 18 of them. So that's kind of a little bit of a preview. But we also, on the website, on flow.is, we have what we call our web portal, which is, so the same content that's in the mobile app is also in the web portal. So on your laptop, you can have the beautiful imagery from the 360 on your computer, and you can put it on the big screen on your, because it's all high definition, 4K, 8K nature imagery. You can put it on your screen. You know, we have a projector at home. We just project it on the wall, and you can have a meditation with the nature imagery and the music. So that's for us to preview. How to preview VR. It's also, I think in the future there'll be some fun ways that people have like sort of booths and like at trade shows and whatnot. You can like walk into a bubble and you're like in a space, like it's being projected on all the walls. When I was a kid, we had a place called the planetarium, or you could go and see the universe, on a big dome. Like, I think that kind of experience is going to be more and more, coming into the mainstream.
Yeah, I could easily imagine that actually happening. Could be very interesting to have like the different bubbles as it's happening almost in reality, but have it for VR.
Yeah.
For VR, that would be really interesting. And I'll definitely like go and check out some of the ones that you are suggesting on your website. Because sometimes I really love also to have like the group experiences in meditation, and I feel that that can help a lot in having a group experience with people. Maybe we can also think about creating one. And as we're slowly going towards closing our interview for today, I would like to ask you, I mean, I could imagine very easily that you could like reply meditation, but I would like to ask you, what do you feel that is this unique gift that you're bringing to the world, that you're offering to the world yourself personally, Tristan?
Thank you. What I would hope in my heart and soul to bring to people is an opportunity for transformation. So that's something that I'm passionate about for myself. I always want to be growing and transforming, letting go of something that I need to let go of, maybe an old way of being, an old way of thinking, a pattern that's no longer serves me anymore, learning to let go, learning to kind of give up something that maybe I'm attached to, but and opening to something new and to transform so that I can be of service. So just that essence of transformation is dear to my heart. And that's what the first thing that came to my mind when you mentioned that. So I'm going to say, I'd like to be a force of transformation for the good.
I love that. That's really beautiful. And do you feel that meditation, it's your tool for now? It's just one of the tools that you're using, or you feel that it's the one that is being needed right now?
I think it's the main tool. I mean, I feel like meditation always is a lifesaver. It always is the go-to for those tough times when you get stuck, or you need to, or you need to just grow and move into something new. Meditation is the key. So that, yeah, I would say is a vital part of transformation. But there are a lot of other things that go along with it, right? Like there's your friends along the path, and there's a lot of aspects that need to keep you moving towards a brighter light.
There's always a question that I keep getting all the time, and I still don't know how to reply. And I will just pose it to you just to see if you have a better answer for that. Many times I am asked from people who are thinking or have started meditation, or they have heard about it, that what does meditation do? Like, why should we meditate? And I have to admit that I never really have like a clear answer to give them, just because for me it's like so many things and it just keeps changing all the time. I'm wondering if you have a better answer than I do for this question.
So I have a few that I did learn from my teachers, and like the real purpose of meditation, and I would also add prayer and meditation, is to travel so deeply within yourself that you begin to attract to you the love, the energy of source, of God, to be kind of filled with love, and that's always like a kind of like a rebirth, and that happens. Also just like going so deep and connecting to yourself, so you understand yourself and you can understand life better, having a fresh perspective that's from a deeper place, and to be able to get through hard times, to be able to navigate through the challenges, and with love and more care and compassion for oneself and others. And yeah, to succeed in life, I think it's important. I think most people who really succeed in life have some way of meditating, even if they don't call it meditation.
I know what you mean. Yeah, thank you for these beautiful ways of explaining what meditation is in a different way. And our very last question that I always pose to all my interviewers is, what do you personally, or as a company, would need right now to be able to go and take the next step? in your evolution? Because with time, sometimes we forget that we love to serve, we love to give, we love to offer, but at the same time we have to rebalance the system and also ask for what we need. So that's what that's the question, Patty. What would you name right now?
Thank you. Thank you. You know, we're very much open to finding key friends and team members to join our mission. That's always been an aspect of Flow, that we attract really amazing people to us, to our team. So we are open to adding new team members. If you're out there and you are called to this mission, let us know. We are fundraising for the next phase. And yeah, I guess that's in a nutshell.
So team members practically, and investors or connections from for the fundraising, I guess, right?
Mm-hmm. And strategic distribution partners, yeah, as well. But that, I think, is a byproduct of our growth.
Thank you so much for connecting today, Tristan. I was really glad to get to know a little bit more, actually, also about Flow and where it is right now. Just before we go, I would like to see if there's anything that you would like to share before we close.
I want to thank you for the opportunity to share in a unique way. The interview with you, Aliki, is a pleasure, and your questions and just being with you is a pleasure. Of course, I always love our sessions, and yeah, you definitely bring a fresh way of looking at things when it comes to just the whole journey, which is really fun to talk with you about it, and a soulful way, like a really authentic and connected to the elements way. And I appreciate the community that you're growing, and I appreciate being a part of it. Yeah.
Thank you so much. You always bring a beautiful energy there. And I'm really glad that we had the chance to do that today. As I told you, we will stop the live on Facebook and we will continue in the same Zoom. So just say goodbye from here, but you stay on the same call. Just go off. Stop.
Okay. Thank you.
Just stop the Facebook. Let me actually stop the recording and then I will start it again.